Thursday, March 21st, 2019. Let the record show we have all members present, along with Mike Units, the town manager, and also tonight we have Amy Quessler from Copeland Page here joining us also. So, pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, under licenses and permits, we have an application by O'Leary's Gymnastics Center for a one-day liquor license. Everyone had a chance to look that over? Anyone have any questions? Seems to be in order. It's on 350 Old Colony Road. It'll be, the event's going to be held on May 11, 2019, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Be open to the public. They figure about 80 people will be attending. It's been signed off by the police, fire, building inspector. Everything seems to be all set. They paid their $50. Any questions?
No.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the application for one-day liquor license for O'Leary's Gymnastics Center, 350 Old Colony Road, May 11, 2019, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Flaherty?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Salvo?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
I too vote yes. Thank you. Okay, under announcements.
Mr. Chairman, I have an announcement that Norton Spring Cleanup begins Saturday, April 6th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Rain date will be Sunday, April 7th, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're looking for volunteers to clean up designated spots around town in an effort to keep Norton beautiful, keep Massachusetts clean, keep Mass beautiful. Trash bags will be available for pickup. Norton Highway Department Friday on April 5th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Wheaton College Lot 3, Saturday, April 6th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Registration at Wheaton College in Lot 3 on Pine Street, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Coffee and refreshments will be served. For more information, email PELTOLA Cassandra@wheatoncollege.edu.
This parking lot, by the way, is on Pine Street. It's the furthest one down on the right, to the rear of the soccer field. So anyone who's showing up, if you show up there, volunteers will be assigned to different streets. We want to make sure we're not duplicating too many streets and having too many people show up in the same spot. So the best way to do it is really to go down there, have a cup of coffee, and then get assigned, and try to keep it cleaner that way. Anything else under announcements? So, anything else? Mr. Bramwell.
Yeah, we have a invitation from Wheaton College. They're having a community pancake breakfast this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Emerson Dining Hall. Parking is available in Lot 1, which is adjacent to the nursery school with the entrance off of 140. This was scheduled for several weeks ago and was postponed due to the snowstorm. So again, it's this Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Emerson Dining Hall.
Okay. Anything else?
So that.
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
All set, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have an appointment of Stephen M. Smith as a part-time EM dispatcher in the Communication Department. Mr. Eunice, you have anything on that?
Yeah, this is a part-time per diem position, so if there's a shift open and someone doesn't fill it, then Stephen can fill it. So hopefully he'll get some hours. He may not get some hours, but we really wanted to have someone in there that could fill in if no one was willing to take a shift that was open.
Mr. Silver?
Notice to the Board of Selectmen from Michael D. Eunice, Town Manager, dated March 19, 2019. Regarding notice of appointment of a part-time dispatcher in the Communications Department, I hereby notify the Board of Selectmen in accordance with the provisions of Article 4, Section 2B of the Norton Charter that, acting in my capacity as appointing authority, I have appointed the following individual as a part-time dispatcher in the Communications Department. Stephen M. Smith, The appointment was made on March 19, 2019, in accordance with the provisions of the Norton Charter, and will be effective April 3, 2019, unless the Board of Selectmen votes to accept or reject this appointment prior to said date. I respectfully request this Board acceptance of this appointment with an effective date of March 24, 2019.
Any other questions? Chair entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Next, we have an appointment of the part-time Conservation Department Secretary, Mr. Units.
Yeah, this position's been open for quite a while, and I'd like to thank Pat Tarantino, who filled in. She was only able to work 1 day a week, but she did help us out on Tuesdays, 1 day a week, and that was a big help. And Melissa had a lot of experience working in an office environment, and was the best candidate for the job, and looking forward to finally having someone in the office.
This was a part-time position.
Yeah, part-time, 18 hours a week.
Anyone have any questions? This was funded at the last town meeting. Vacant for a while, right?
Yeah, this position's been, it's always been funded. It was just no one was in it since the last conservation clerk became a conservation agent in Canton, so that happened about 3 or 4 months ago. So.
Okay. Any questions? Chair entertain a motion to appoint Melissa Quirk to the part-time Conservation Commission Secretary.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second.
Do we need to read that in to the?
I'm sorry, you have to read that in.
Sorry. Thank you. To the Board of Selectmen from Michael D. Unis, Town Manager, dated March 20th, 2019, regarding notice of appointment of part-time Conservation Commission Secretary. I hereby notify the Board of Selectmen in accordance with provisions of Article 4, Section 2B of the Norton Charter, that acting in my capacity as appointing authority, I have appointed the following individual as a part-time Conservation Commission Secretary: Melissa Quirk. The appointment was made on March 20th, 2019, in the accordance with the provisions of the Norton Charter, and will be effected on April 4th, 2019, unless the Board of Selectmen votes to accept or reject this appointment prior to said date. I specifically request this Board acceptance of this appointment with an effective date of March 25th, 2019.
Thank you. Now, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. And then the new business, we have a review petition for request for special town meeting and/or to vote, set aside a special town meeting. We have a copy of the petition, of the back page of the petition. At this time, Mr. Units, you have any comments, or do you want to turn to the town council?
I'd just let you know that we did receive a petition that the signatures were certified by the town clerk and by our charter. If we receive a petition signed by 200 registered voters, we have to have a town meeting within 45 days by state law also. So I'll turn it over to Amy to talk about timelines.
Russell, you want to give us some direction
Sure.
on how to handle this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Mr. Units is correct that the charter tracks the state statute, which is Chapter 39, Section 10, which requires that a special town meeting can be called upon the petition of 200 or more registered voters. So the signatures were certified by the town clerk, so there are over 200. And so they were certified on, the petition came in on March 7th, and they were certified on March 8th. So we have 45 days from that date to have a special town meeting.
March 8th.
Yes. So it's approximately, it's April 21st, 22nd. So what we have is it's one article that will amend the zoning bylaw, which is section 175, and this is subsection 22, which has to do with solar installations. And because it is a zoning amendment change, we then have to follow all of the regulations of 40A Section 5, which provides that we have to, the planning board has to have a public hearing on this, and then they have to have a recommendation or a report to town meeting as to whether they recommend the change or not. So under 40A Section 5, the planning board has to advertise the public hearing with the language 2 weeks ahead of time. They have to advertise it in the paper twice, and the furthest one out is 2 weeks ahead of time. It also has to be posted at Town Hall for not less than 14 days. So the two combined, meaning the fact that we have 45 days, plus we have to also do this at kind of extra layer, kind of puts us a little bit in a time crunch. Your charter also has some provisions with regard to closing the warrant, advertising, opening the warrant, advertising, and then you can close it after 5 days after it's been published. So it looks like right now, you're looking at April 17th. And tracking back from that date, the planning board can accomplish what they need to accomplish. With regard to the substance of the article, essentially what the petitioners are seeking to do, and just to backtrack 1 second, because it's a petitioner's article, it has to go on the warrant exactly as written. So normally you would send the annual town warrant, you send it to KP, and we make all kinds of changes to make it legal and everything like that. Well, we can't touch this at all. So it goes on exactly how it comes in. And so it will go on exactly like this. There are a few deletions that they're looking for. They're looking to delete the definition of as-of-right citing. They're looking to follow up on that, to delete, as-of-right citing may proceed as allowed, et cetera. And then they are looking to change, a section to require it instead of as-of-right with a special permit. And then lastly, the fourth change, they are looking to delete the provision that's in the zoning bylaw right now that allows for the as-of-right citing on cranberry bogs. And that's part of the SMART program from DOER. So many towns have made this change because of this SMART program through the Commonwealth. So, in a nutshell, those are the changes. It's my understanding that there's a petition before the planning board right now with regard to a solar facility that is going to take advantage of the SMART program. I just want to make it clear to the board that this zoning change will not change the application that's in front of the planning board. And the reason being is because Chapter 40A, Section 5, which deals with zoning amendments, specifically states that the zoning amendment is effective the date of the town meeting vote. Furthermore, Chapter 40, Section 32, which is the Attorney General review of zoning and general bylaws, that further states that that bylaws become effective the date that the Attorney General approves them unless they are enacted pursuant to 40A Section 5. So I want to say it was January 14th was the special town meeting. That was the date that this bylaw, the current bylaw, became effective. And so the application that is before the planning board is there for an as-of-right use and then a special permit for an overlay district. So, and a site plan review.
I have one fast question.
Sure.
The fourth one, if we take this out of our bylaw, does Mass General Law supersede us? Or if somebody else comes before us and says, we want to do this, and we don't have it in our bylaw, can the state pretty much ram it down our throat, or are we allowed to say no?
No, this is a bylaw. You're not required to have it. However, it's beneficial for credits and energy credits, and also for becoming a green community. it's a step in the way to become a green community, which gets you grants. It makes you
Yeah.
eligible for grants and
You know,
things like
We're
that.
2 steps away from becoming a green community.
Right.
And I think we had a meeting last night.
Yeah.
They'll take care of the final step that we need there, too.
Right. So, so no, you're not required to have this, the fourth
Okay.
change.
Board members have questions? Mr. Flaherty?
So if I'm understanding what you had just said, this petition and any resultant action taken by special town meeting will have no impact on the project that was set forth on, or resulting from the January 14th?
Correct.
Okay, so that goes through independent of what?
Correct.
This will protect any future developments,
Yep, gotcha.
not on any kind of cranberry bogs in
Okay.
that type of an area. I have a guideline regarding the special town meeting. We're having a special town meeting on the 18th of May, within the annual.
That'll be the 15th of May.
15th of May. And this is about 3.5 weeks prior to that. So it's kind of a long stretch.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because it does cost the town money to put on a town meeting. The deadline, the 45 days can be extended but the petitioners have to agree to it. It is state statute, so as we sit here right now, we have to have it in that 45-day period.
Okay. So according to the information I've received tonight, we have to open the special town meeting as of 3/21, which is today. Notify departments, boards, and committees of the deadline for submission for a special town meeting date on 3/22. That's to allow other departments, if they want to add to the special, put something else within the special. On 3/22, we also have, before 11 a.m., we have to submit an ad to the newspaper. It has to be published in the paper on 26th of March. We close the special town meeting warrant 5 business days later at 4 p.m. following the newspaper publication on the 2nd of April. Forward the article to the Finance Committee, the Chair, and Moderator, Town Clerk for posting on the 2nd of April. Forward the draft warrant to the Finance Committee, Chair, Moderator, and Town Clerk on the 3rd of April. Selectmen vote the article and sign the warrant on the 4th of April. And we have to post a special town meeting warrant for the special town meeting 14 days prior to the special town meeting by the 8th of April. And special town meeting would be held on the 17th of April. There is one other step, right? We have to notify the planning board?
The planning board is on a different track, so they've also tracked it out, so they're going to advertise for their public meeting, their public hearing will be on the 16th of April, no, I'm sorry, the 9th of April. And then they can continue, if they have to, they can continue it to the 16th. And they have tracked out the newspaper advertisement, which I think is going to go in on the 25th, which was Monday.
Okay. Any other questions of the board? Pretty cut and dry, really.
Yeah.
For the most part. Do you want to say anything else? Anyone out there have any questions at this time? Okay. So, Chair, entertain a motion to open the warrant for the special town meeting to be held on the 17th of April, 2019, at 7 p.m. at the Norton High School Gymnasium? No. Auditorium. At the Norton High School Auditorium. Pretty much it. The motion?
Second.
Have a second? Any further discussion?
We've reached out to the petitioners to see if there's any opportunity to move this to our annual town meeting.
You can ask. Are there any petitioners here?
Yeah.
Sir, you want to come up? Just identify yourself, please, so we know who you are.
Good evening, members of the Board of Selectmen. My name is Keshav Jha, and I'm an attorney that represents the petitioners that have submitted the petition that you're considering today. At this time, we would not like to move the meeting
Okay.
further out. We would like the meeting to follow the statute for 45 days. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? So we have a motion. We have a second. Okay, no further discussion. Mr. Flaherty?
Yep.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Salvo?
Yes.
Mr. Bramall?
Yes.
I do vote yes. Okay, so we have a special town meeting. You're going to get the ball rolling on that, right? Following the guidelines?
Jen is,
Now, we have to refer these to the planning board, right?
yeah, we have that.
And let's take that out of order so we can make sure we get this thing all cleaned up.
All right.
Make sure we get that right, so. Under number 4, under new business tonight, we have referral of zoning articles to planning board for non-binding recommendations. Mr. Yunus, do you have anything
So,
on that?
one of them would be what you just talked about, petition to amend the Norton zoning bylaw, Chapter 175 of the General Code, under Article 22, Section 22.1, 22.d, 22.e, 22.3a, large-scale ground-mounted solar voltaic installation. And there's 4 others. The first article is to amend the zoning bylaws under Chapter 175 of the General Code under Article 4, use regulations. What this would do would be allow campsites with a special permit in R80, R60, R40, village commercial, and commercial. This came about because right now we don't have that in our zoning anywhere, and we were saying with Camp Edith Reed, they were checking the zoning, and they said, well, we technically can't camp there, so the conservation agent and the planning director brought this forward to go to the planning board for discussion.
So in addition to the cranberry questions, the cranberry bogs and the Bay Road questions, we'll have, and also have additional article?
Right, I have 4 more to
You
go.
have 4 more?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next article would amend under definitions to define what a campsite is. And the next proposal is to amend the Norton zoning bylaws under Article 7, off-street parking and loading. And this came about from the planning board because under their current site plan review, they're working on the Blue Star Park, and they have a requirement of, I believe it's 50-foot wide driveways, and they wanted to waive that, but they couldn't, so the proponent had to go to the ZBA and get a variance. So this would give the planning board, under the site plan review provision, to reduce the width of driveways during the process rather than have to go to the ZBA. And the next proposed article is proposed article under use regulations to change the definition of digital electronic billboards and to allow digital electronic billboards in industrial zones if granted a special permit. And this came about from the discussion that we had with the proponent. So
So-
it would add, in the industrial zoning district, digital electronic billboards may be erected and maintained if granted a special permit by the planning board, provided that it shall not exceed more than 90 feet in height, shall not exceed a 14-foot by 48-foot face area. And then also, a digital electronic board shall not be erected except on the lot with conforming lot area and frontage or on any other lot with at least 10,000 square feet and 150 feet of frontage, and must be erected within 2,000 feet of Interstate 495. This is similar to what we had previously, so that only along 495 would this be allowed.
And we have until, other departments have until, close of the special would be on the 2nd of April.
Right.
So we could have other
Yeah.
articles coming forward. Okay.
So we just need a motion to refer these articles to the planning board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
Thank you.
On the special town meeting warrant, though, while we're talking about it, perhaps council can give us some direction on this too. We have a proposal for a debt exclusion override coming up regarding the town hall and what we call a community building, which is actually a council on aging and community building. Right now, it's within the annual town meeting request for about $25 million. If we would decide to put it on this warrant, do we have time to do it? I know it's a very short period of time, and I don't know that we have enough time to do it.
I don't think you would, I'd have to count back, but I don't think you,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think you do.
Okay. So we don't have to worry about that one. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much.
You may have a question.
We have a question, okay.
Looking at the 14 days, post a special,
Oh, yeah, we have to post it sooner.
so,
That would be the 19th.
It's just in the back.
So,
because we have Patriots Day in between.
yes, you do.
Patriots Day is the 15th, right?
It is.
Yes, Peter.
So, I'll just check the charter really quick. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
It does say business. Oh, I have it here if you need it.
Okay, yep. Never mind.
Okay, so, Board of Selectmen shall include the warrant. Close of business in the afternoon of the fifth business day, such publication. 2 months. So, okay, so let's see. So it has to be, it couldn't be closed on the official close of business on the afternoon of the fifth business day following such publication. So that's business day. So it will be published, okay, so that's covered, because it will be published on the 26th.
Right,
So that provision's covered.
yeah.
And then the warrant for special town meeting. So,
The issue is posting the special town meeting warrant 14 days before, so that would have to be on April 4th.
no, it would have to be on the 3rd,
Okay,
right? The 3rd, April 3rd plus 14 would be 17. So, would it be published, I mean, it would be posted, so could it be posted on the 2nd? That's the day that it closes. Can it be posted when it closes?
will the selectmen meet on Thursday night, April 4th, because they have to vote the article and sign the warrant? So,
So then we either have to move that up, or we have to push,
right,
we have to push the
date.
the date back, which could go back to,
have it on a Thursday.
which would be, it still wouldn't work. The 18th still wouldn't work.
Mr. Chairman, couldn't we have just a special Board of Selectmen's meeting on the 2nd?
Yeah, I think it would be cleaner and easier. I don't want to take away from, we normally have town meetings on Monday and Wednesday. I don't want to take that, I want to make sure we follow either a Monday or Wednesday schedule.
Yeah, if just.
If we have to,
alternating
in that particular week, if we have to meet, unless somebody else is using this room, the planning board, I don't know when they're meeting.
Would Monday, the 22nd, still cover the 45 days?
No. I wrote it down, and I thought I wrote down the 21st. It's on the petition. So, no, 4/21 is the
Okay.
45th day, which is a Sunday, which I think it would be a close call.
So are you saying the 17th is not going to work?
The 17th can work, provided you have a special meeting on the
Why don't we-
2nd.
Why don't we just plan a special meeting on the 2nd? To
Tuesday.
do that only.
Yeah, Tuesday the 2nd, we can have a meeting.
And if somebody else is using it, we'll just adjust the time of our,
Well, the only other department, well, maybe the planning board, usually they meet on Tuesdays. But if we
Well,
met
I mean,
for,
if we got
we
here
met
like
for
at 6 o'clock.
5 minutes,
Yeah.
meet at 6:45 on Tuesday, April 2nd. Let's say 6:45, Mike?
The 3rd won't count?
Yeah, you could do the 3rd, too,
Okay.
because I just counted from the 2nd, and I counted 16 days.
So if you do it the 3rd, that gives time to,
No, yeah. So, but if you vote on it on the 2nd, you would be posting it on the 3rd.
Let's stay with the 2nd.
So you post it on the 3rd.
Yeah, I don't want to mess
So it's
this thing up.
posted for the full day, so 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's meet on the 2nd. Let's plan on posting a meeting on 2nd of April, 6:45 PM here at the Town Hall, Selectmen's Meeting Room. And make that the only item on the agenda that night. And we can just make sure we get this thing capped and done right. Okay? So we can stay with everything we've already proposed, the 17th is fine. Okay. Okay. You want to go now?
who put that holiday in there?
Yeah. We legal?
I want to make sure that, I think we are, but, yeah, it's 14 days. I think we're good.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good. Thank you very much for coming and helping us out with this.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
We'll get the ball rolling and get this thing set up.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Mr. Thomas J. Scanlon. You back there somewhere? Mr. Scanlon? Coming in to talk about the review of the town audit. Mr. Scanlon, good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you, sir.
See you soon. Nice to meet
Got a, got a crowd here
Good to
tonight.
see you.
Good to see you.
I think this is the first time in years you've come and it hasn't been snowing, right?
I know, actually, the weather's kind of nice.
So far, so good.
That's right. Night's young. So you should have two reports in front of you.
Yeah,
No one wants to stay for the audit.
don't take it.
Exciting times. I thought they're all here for the audit.
Don't take it personally. You're not clearing the room, so.
I had a 2-hour presentation all. So you should have two reports in front of you, kind of go over the financials, but just a general note, the audit went really well like it usually does. We had no difficulties in performing the audit. We gave no significant adjustments. We had no disagreements with management, which is always good to hear if I was sitting in your seats. And just an overall note, your financial reporting is good. Not just okay, like in that commercial, they say, just okay, the doctors. So you're good on your financial reporting, which should be pointed out. James does an excellent job given the reports and accounting for transactions. And you have very sound controls over your key accounts, which would be your cash recons and your accounts receivable, your property taxes. So we do a lot of our testing in that area, in your treasurer's office and your collector's office. Those are your two largest assets, and that's a lot of our testing's being done. We do a lot of work with your budget to make sure it's accounted for within the subledgers. We do payroll testing, and that's your number one expenditure is payroll. So you have adequate controls over that. So I just want to kind of walk through your financial statements. I know government, I don't want to spend too much time. I know they can be kind of tricky. They're kind of different from out in the private sector accounting. I just want to kind of point out your key aspects. Is on page 15. Is you actually, with government, you actually have three balance sheets within your financial statement, which is weird, where if you're out in the private sector, you actually have one balance sheet, one P&L. On page 15, this is your statement of net position. This is the full accrual basis of accounting. It's a lot different than what you're setting your budget on. Again, you see capital assets on here. You see your borrowings, your promises for compensated absences that you made to your employees when they leave. There's two main liabilities that kind of jump out at you on the statement, like I just like to point out, is under the governmental activities under unrestricted, you'll see a big negative number of 69 million. You never want to see a negative in your net assets. The two drivers of that, if you go up to non-current liabilities, is OPEB, and that's the big chunk, that's 67 million. Again, I know we talked about OPEB in the past, we kind of beat it to death. That's the driver of it. You did adopt an OPEB trust. You roughly have just under 400,000 in the trust. Really, OPEB is really long-term thinking. Don't expect you to resolve a $67 million liability. But again, this is an accounting standard that's on your balance sheet. It's the first time it's been recognized in total. But I will say it should be in your thought process when you're setting budgets, when you're hiring new individuals, that there is a cost associated with that individual that at a future date you'll be paying. Really, the only way to really reduce your OPEB liability is through expiration of people. That's really the only way to have it go away. So when you look at OPEB,
That's a nice way to say it.
I was trying to think of different ways to say it. I get that line. When you look at it, is how many retirees did you have 10 years ago to how many retirees you got now? And I would say for the town of Norton, that number has significantly increased, and that will be driving the cost. And again, that's a kind of a soft cost. When you hire someone, you have the hard cost of actual payroll, but that is a promise. And that's what I would take out of these financial statements looking at this. I wouldn't get too nervous on a $67 million liability, but it should be in your thought process going forward. There's the other two statements I just want to touch base with you on is on page 17. This is your more traditional balance sheet when you look at your reserves. And if you look under general fund unassigned, the $6.3 million, that should be your free cash and your stabilization amounts, which your free cash was certified about 3.3 million and have about 2.7 in stabilization, which is roughly about just around 11% of your budget on a $57 million budget, which anything over 10% is considered sound, good way bond companies look at you. So I would encourage, try to keep your reserves up to that mark, 10, 11%. I know in the past, you've come a long way in the past, like 5 or 6 years, the way you're generating free cash, the way you're doing your budget. So I would encourage to stay with having a stabilization fund. I think you have two of them. You have a capital and a regular. So I would encourage to stay with that same kind of financial policies. And then the last statement, which is always good to know on as management, is on page 21. Which is your budget versus actual. And I think it's always important to know where your free cash is being generated from. And you can see the top half on the revenues. As you go all the way across, all the way to the right, that's how you fared against your budget on your revenues. You generate about 1.9 million of your 3.3 of free cash. The two significant bulk of that, what makes up of that is excise and other tax, which are motor vehicle excise, which is very market-based, and you're very conservative in that regard. You can see a 986,978 of that is for motor vehicle excise. So again, I would encourage to stay with that same financial philosophy of being conservative on motor vehicle, because that's helping you generate free cash. And then on the license permits and fees, that was kind of, it's on your electrical permits and your building permits. You had some large ones over the past 2 years. You had a large one from 17 that kind of trickled in from 18. So again, that was kind of a 1-year effect on that. And then on your expenditure side, you had about $1 million turned back and unspent appropriations. The biggest one, 573 on health insurance, basically. And again, that can be a volatile number depending on rate increases, who joins on open enrollment. So you have a very good flow of your free cash the way it's coming. It's not coming from just one aspect and on the motor vehicle. And then if you go down below, we see free cash on the reserves, the 4.4 million. So you used 4.4 million to fund your budget. 1.5 of that was for engineering of a new town hall, which is, you don't want to, not all that was used for operations for salaries, which is sound financial practice. And then you generated 2.9 of the 3.3 free cash. So you can see if you back away the 1.5, which I would consider a one-time use, you spent 2.9 in free cash, and you also generated 2.9, which is always good to see. So if you're using free cash, you want to make sure you're generating it. It's a one-time funding source on that. That's kind of it on the financial end of it. There's the other report you have in front of you is the management letter, which is really, it's a byproduct of the audit. We gave, it's very thin. Almost considered not doing one this year and just doing a side letter. That's how well the audit went. We do have just a couple points in there. Was probably the biggest one is really, you have a 911 grant that is running a deficit, and we'd run a deficit. It's about 10 to 12,000 of the deficits, to keep an eye on that. And get it funded before the end of the year. I don't think it's a major issue, but just something that should be monitored. And then the other point we had was booking the unrealized gain and loss on your financial statements. It's part of these financials GAAP basis, but we're recommending and putting as part of the state balance sheet for your free cash. Again, majority of that unrealized gain is sitting out in your trust fund, so it's not affecting your day-to-day free cash general fund operations, but it's still an accounting standard that should be booked. And that's kind of the short of it on the audit. Generally, it's a very good audit. Really, client relationship, really a lot of interaction, very responsive to the audit. So.
One question on page 4 or 5 of your management letter.
Yep.
Number 1, adopting a reserve fund for compensated absences.
Yep.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so your compensated absences on the balance sheet it's about 2.2 million. And again, when someone leaves, you have to buy back their sick time. It's a promise you made. We encourage it's another stabilization fund just to fund this, because you have such a high compensated absence balance. So again, I think past practice, you were taking it from free cash to fund it when someone retired. But Master General Law, Chapter 40, Section 13D was passed for those instances to set up a reserve. I know it's something we recommended last. We talked to James and Mike about. I would encourage if you have other things you have to fund in your budget, it might be secondary, but it's something I would consider. Just proper planning going forward. You do have that on your books. You do have that buyback.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of towns that have been doing it, and it's actually worked out well for them. So.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? No. I'll go home and read this and
Yeah.
report back in 2 weeks. So the certification of free cash for this year doesn't happen until, what, August,
In the fall,
In the fall.
September?
September.
Yeah, you really have to wait until after September 30 for receipts to fall in so you don't get penalized.
Okay. So we really don't know how much money we have until we get that cleaned up.
Correct. And again, if you have any questions throughout the year, you have any concerns about anything from budget process to, transactions you want us to look at, I encourage you to contact our office. Helps us be efficient in the audit. If you just have a basic question about something, don't hesitate to call.
Okay, appreciate that.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for not bringing the snow this year.
Yeah, I know, huh?
You may catch some on the way home, though, right?
That's right. You guys have a good night. I hope you get out
You too.
early.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, I was thinking that.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Ashley Nichols of Flaky Crust to discuss her new business. Come on up. Always great to have new businesses in town. It's always great to have them with my favorite food group in it, too. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
My name's Ashley Nichols, and so this is kind of a career change for me. I worked with my mom for a long time in her business, and then we had this idea to start a pie shop, and I worked out of a business incubator in Rhode Island. They help food businesses get off the ground. So we're working there, doing farmers markets, and then looking for a place, and we found 401 Old Colony Road in Norton. So as everyone probably knows, we had to do a lot of construction inside, and we added on to the septic system because we really wanted to have seating inside for people to come and have a slice of pie and have coffee. So we have a beautiful dining area in there, and yeah, it's just been great. It's been busier than we could have imagined. I've hired more people. Today we got another fridge, so we have 2 refrigerators in there. So we're working on our processes, and every week we kind of learn something different, and it feels like we're still really in the beginning stages and trying to figure things out. But it's been really interesting, but all the customers that come in, that's my favorite part, is talking to the customers and hearing what they think about the pie, and they're also great. A lot of people from Norton coming through and just saying, we love the pie. So, yes.
Peter will be there tomorrow.
Yeah, I did bring a sample pie here. This is our lemon chess pie, which a lot of people are like, what is a lemon chess pie? It tastes like a lemon bar. It's a popular pie down south, but I wanted a lemon dessert, and I wanted to do something different, so I have some cut up here if you want that afterwards. But right now we have apple pie, chocolate cream pie, the lemon chess, we have coconut cream pie on Saturdays, and we have our chicken pot pies, which are really popular. So we have them frozen. We have a freezer in the front, so you can come in and get a frozen one, or we will bake them hot and keep them hot for you. So you can get it on your way home from work, or just if you're out and about. And we have 2 sizes, a large one, which is 9 inches, or a small personal sized pie.
So what are your hours of operation? Do you have?
Right now, we're doing Wednesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and kind of testing out different hours. There might be a point in time where we expand our hours, but we kind of pulled back a little bit to try to really ramp up. We were selling out of pies a lot, and it's a good and a bad thing. I want everybody to get a pie, and I feel bad when people come and we don't have the flavor that they want. So just trying to take a step back and really plan out, hire new people. I really want to hire local people. One of my employees is here, Alyssa, and she's actually my cousin as well, and she lives in Norton too. So, and I just hired another woman from Norton to work the front area. So I really enjoy doing business in Norton, and like I said, everyone's been so welcoming. Everybody comes in, welcome to the neighborhood, welcome to Norton. So I live in Attleboro, but only 5 minutes away, just over the border. So I'm always there.
Already.
Mr. Chairman, I got to meet her, over the summer when I did a lot of work there for them. When I first walked into the building, I said, "I make a pie shop out of this," and the renovations that went along, the place looks like 3 times bigger than it was when it was gutted. It's beautiful. They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
It's just a place to go look at, and you'll really enjoy it when you go in there.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, the transformation of it. Because it was almost ready. I said, well, we'll really tear this thing down. Start all over.
I know. But when I walked in there, I really saw this vision. Like, it was a bunch of office spaces, but I walked in and I was like, there's all these big windows in the front. We need to open this up. And, like, we have a bar by the front windows. I really want people to sit at the bar, especially if they're by themselves. They want to sit at a big table. So, sit at the bar, and even though it's Route 123, but you can still watch cars go by, even people walk by. So, it's hard for me to think about what it was before, but I always kind of focused on that vision and just long term, what would.
You get a lot of good reviews. So
Yes, I
and
know.
you're starting to sell your pies into some of the restaurants. I see that people that are bragging about them.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, that's the best part of my day is coming home and seeing what people say about it. And, we encourage all feedback. I don't know everything. I'm not perfect. And, I can learn from my customers too. So
You're overwhelmed right now. It's a good thing.
a little bit, but
Very good thing.
yeah.
You have room to expand?
Not really. It's a small
You
building.
need a bigger building, come back and see if we can help you.
I know. All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Maybe something around.
Yeah, but no, it's been great working with the town officials too. Phyllis at the health department, she was really helpful and
Good.
friendly. So
So you can get a slice of pie, you can buy a whole piece of pie, you can
Yes.
do anything you want, right?
you can get a slice, a whole pie, or what's popular is the mini pies because it really is a mini pie. So it feels like you're eating a whole pie to yourself. But yeah, and I have a lot of recipes and I want to make them all, but I'm just trying to focus on these core recipes and then work in some new ones. Also newer savory pies like shepherd's pie. A lot of people asking about a French meat pie, so maybe, or like a beef pot pie, different things.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Any questions? Anybody? Well, congratulations, welcome to Norton.
Thank you so
Always
much.
excited to get a new business in town,
Oh, thank you.
especially one that has sweet stuff, that's even
Yes.
better.
Yeah.
Part of my problem, I'm unfortunately, between ice cream and desserts, I have a bad habit.
Oh,
I'll be by to see you shortly.
okay, good.
how you
Look
know.
forward to
Good to
it.
see you working on that.
Yeah. Bye. So, but congratulations again, and honestly, if there's anything this board can do to help in the future, we're here to help you.
Oh,
We're always excited about new people coming in
thank you.
and something different. I think, having the opportunity, I imagine around the holidays, you're going to be crazy.
Yes, so this is a good test run right now. I think, it's kind of an opening. A lot of people
Yeah.
are coming in curious about what we do, so we'll see if it levels out. But if not, we'll just hire more people and make more pies.
Great. Nothing wrong with that, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, so.
Okay, well, thanks so much. Thanks for-
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Bob, for
Good
inviting
luck.
me. I don't know what, should I just leave this here?
Your needle's right over there.
Over there?
Sounds like we have pie for later, so anyone who wants to hang around,
Good luck with
Thank you so
everything.
Good luck,
much.
Kate.
Thank you, good luck.
I welcome you to Norton. Welcome to Norton.
Okay, we have a review of the warrant for the annual town elections on April 23rd, 2019. Michael?
Warrant at the bottom.
You have the warrant in front of you that you're hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town that precincts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 will vote at Norton High School, 66 West Main Street, on Tuesday, the 23rd of April, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the positions that are up for election, one person for the Board of Assessors for a 3-year term, 2 members of the Board of Selectmen for a 3-year term, 1 member of the Housing Authority, a 5-year term, Planning Board members for a 3-year term, there's 3 positions, and Planning Board members for a 2-year term, there's 1 position. School Committee members for 3 years, there's 2 positions. Water and Sewer Commission for a 3-year term, there's 1 position, and for a 1-year term, there's 1 position. And then a Charter Commission, you vote for not more than 9 people on the Charter Commission.
There's also a question, right?
And also the question, shall a commission be elected to revise the charter of the town of Norton?
Does that question come before the, I think I had a copy of that here somewhere.
Ballots.
Bottom, I believe. I thought it was on the bottom.
It's on the bottom.
It's on the very bottom?
I misplaced.
So, people are asking me whether you vote yes or no for the charter to form a charter commission. You can still vote for people. So if you're going to vote no, in case the charter question gets voted in as yes, you should really vote for people that you want on a charter commission in case it gets voted in. So even if you're voting no, you can still vote for people.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? We have to vote to post this or anything?
I would, and did you sign it? You'll have to sign it.
Yes, and then. Chair entertain a motion to
Approve and sign.
approve the warrant for the annual town elections to be held on April 23rd, 2019, in said Norton, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., for the purposes of the town elections, annual town elections.
So moved.
Second.
A motion, a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Town manager's report.
Just a couple things. I want to thank the people that, on the building committee, for all the work they did to set up the informational meeting last night. They did a good job, and also to the building inspector for the work he did setting up the meeting before that on the stretch code. So I know it's a lot of work, and but I thought everyone did a great job, and it was a way for them to get in some more input on the Town Hall Community Center project, and I think they did a great job. I know the building committee meets again next Monday, the 25th. Then the building committee will be presenting at the joint meeting of the Selectmen and the school committee on the 11th of April. That's their next scheduled events.
Yeah, the meeting was well attended. I was very pleased to see how many people actually showed up for it, which is good. It's a good thing. A lot of discussion, a lot of confusion on how, funds work and where they come from and all that stuff, which we spent a lot of time talking about. And I was very vocal last night, and I know most of us were there, but I firmly believe that when you spend $25 million for the debt exclusion, that the warrant article for that should be separate and not involved. It should not be included in the annual town meeting on this year, which is May 15th. And I also feel very strongly that in order for people to have an opportunity to talk about it, clearly talk about it, put the time into it, that we should probably consider calling for a special ourselves for that one purpose only. I remind you that recent years, we had a high school question that came forward. We didn't discuss it in the May town meeting, but we called a meeting in early June. And the following week, we went to a vote because we had a timeline we had to follow. I'm not suggesting we have to do that, but what I am suggesting is I'd like the board to consider not allowing the article to be on the annual or the special on the 15th of May, but to call for a new special town meeting to be held either late in the month of May or the first part of June. And the ballot question could be done, we have to do it before school lets out, or we have to wait till fall. I'm not sure there's any panic or any rush, and I don't know how that works, to be honest with you. But I think, I think it's consideration we should take. And the other thing I would suggest is we always put placeholders on warrants, and we have one now for the annual, for this debt exclusion. And I'm concerned about leaving that on there at all, and would like to consider having it just taken right off the warrant. I don't want people to think that if they don't show up at that meeting, that someone's gonna raise their hand and raise the article. You know, move the article on the floor, and there'd be a big discussion. So I want to try to lead people that way. It's a big decision. It's gonna cost us a lot of money. It's also something that's necessary, something we need to do. So, any thoughts on it, Mike?
So I'm inclined to agree with you. I think that, last night it seemed that the building committee was looking to move this in the town meeting schedule for May. In light of tonight with the petition where we've got to have a town meeting in April, another one in May, I might want to push it out a little bit further. I mean, again, these things cost money, and I'm looking at the revenue and expenditure sheet. Right now, it's showing us in $1.5 million hole starting next year. So I just want to be sensitive to that and make sure that, we're not, we can't have town meetings every week, so.
No, I agree. But again, I think it's important that we segregate this one issue, like we did with the high school.
Yep.
I mean, it's very, we're asking people to pay for something for the next 20 years, and I want to make sure we're okay. You okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. You're making me nervous.
Town meeting really, there's not that much of a cost for town meeting, so everyone volunteers. So.
Okay.
Only if we have a big meeting and we have to hire.
Details.
companies.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why it's probably better to wait. So the building committee does meet Monday, so if someone can go and
I'll go and talk
make
to
that
them.
suggestion to them, because it really is up to them
Yeah.
as a committee.
I mean, I'm assuming that these will all be well-attended. So I would assume that there would be, whatever it's going to be, it would be on the higher end.
Yeah, and again, I think town meeting is one purpose, and people go to that town meeting for specific reasons.
Yep.
Usually it's about the budget, and I get that. This is gonna be a separate issue that I think that we have to address separately, and I don't wanna cloud the issue. I wanna have the opportunity to explain how finances work when people say, well, that's fine, but we can do about our dirty water. I wanna be able to explain how that works, so people have a clear understanding about how that works, even though the water's kind of foggy. But, we have to talk about, we have rules and regulations we have to follow, and guidelines we have to follow. And, deficits are always an issue, always a problem. We're gonna have to figure out how to do it. But building a new town hall and a council on aging / community building is, in my opinion, one of our number one priorities right now. We've done a great job of taking care of the schools over the years, contrary to what some people may think. We spend millions and millions of dollars on those facilities to maintain them and keep them in a condition where kids are able to go to school safe and not have any issues. On the other side of it, we've got a town hall that is rambling down, a COA building that's falling apart. We had a fire station in Winnicott that we tore down because we didn't take care of it. We're not putting anything back into this side of the infrastructure, and we have to do it before everything falls down. There's never a good time to do it. I totally get that. There's never a good time to do it. If we'd done this 5 years ago, we wouldn't have been talking about $25 million. It would have been a lot less.
Yep.
5 years from now, it would be a lot more. So, we have to decide whether or not this is the time and place to make this happen. So, with that said, I'd like to approach the building committee on Monday and discuss that with them and see if we can work out a compromise.
Yeah.
Somehow. That's okay. All right.
Just what Mr. Flaherty was referring to, don't let this scare you yet. This is the wish list budget, I'll call it, and as someone mentioned on the Finance Committee, reductions here are not reductions in budgets. It's a reduction in increased requests for budgets. So next week, I'll be working on reducing the increase requests by $1.5 million to bring the budget in balance.
What's the major increase? Why do we have such a heavy deficit?
Well, everyone came in with, assessors making their part-time full-time, conservation making their part-time full-time, fire adding a person, and, everyone came in asking for their wishes now, and now we have to go through in the schools. I had talked to the superintendent, I thought a 4% increase was coming in, but it came in at 6.5. So, and then if you look at the fixed and shared expenses, that's up by $400,000. Health insurance costs, regular insurance costs in the first year of payments, the window project comes on. In our state aid, if you look at the local aid, it looks like we're doing pretty well, but in effect, you have to take out of the state aid the direct pass-throughs to the library and the $25,516 that goes directly to the library, and the $660,910 in school choice tuition that goes directly to the schools. So really, we only have about 90,000, and that's why we always say no reason to wait until the state finishes their budget, because we're only getting about $90,000 from the state in revenue. I know Tom, tonight when he was here, mentioned to be conservative, but right now, our local receipts, we're increasing them. Our estimate's 500,000 more than last year. And what's scary, if you look last year, the FY19, we did use $1.2 million of free cash for the budget. Now, there's talk now that 2020 is going to be the beginning of a recession, so, we got to be conservative of where we go from here as far as any increases.
Any questions? Anyone? So you'll have a better picture once you start
Right,
trimming this down a bit?
Yeah, next week I'll be working on that.
Now, I'm told on the school side, there's a lot of mandated programs that are coming down the pike that they have to cover. Do you know what these programs are? Is there anything we can do about finding out what these mandates are? Do you know of any mandates?
Well, obviously, they've got all their special ed education that they have to cover, and we're always trying to get the circuit breaker fully funded, which is a big expense for them.
Yeah. I'm sure that's most of it, too. Okay. All right, anything else?
Nope. Oh, just, and I know you were there too, the West Main Street sewer project, we had a meeting on that today.
I
And,
was there,
what's that?
so I wish I was there.
They expect to be going out to bid in April and begin in the summer, and they will be working from Wheaton out. So they'll be coming out of Wheaton and going on the west side of Taunton Ave, which is the southbound lane, up to Route 123, and they hope to have that done in June. And then in July, they'll start going down 123. It'll be gravity feed down just beyond the school, I believe, the high school. Be gravity feed coming back. And what they want to do is tie in the school department into that and get that active, because then they're going to decommission the connection the schools has to the old water pipe that was lined, and they're going to use that pipe going forward down to the pump station at the housing authority. And they don't sound very, some places they're going to be down 16 feet.
Yeah.
So
And they have no idea what they're gonna hit when they get down there.
they're
so.
planning on only being able to move 10 feet a day in some places, so
you do.
it's going to take a while, and they're looking at the possibility, and I'm sure once they have a contract, they'll probably come here. It's a state highway, and the state would rely on the opinion of the town also before they'd grant them permission to work at night, because the concern is we all know how the traffic is out there on 140 and 123. And so if they could work from 9 PM to 5 AM at night, it might be better. I know that it's a lot of businesses along there. We don't want to disrupt their business. There are a few residents, but not that many. So might be better to do the work at night than in the daytime. Because if they do it in the daytime, and if they're working when school is in session,
9 to 2, right?
right, they'll only be able to work 9 to 2 every day. So it's going to take forever to finish the job.
Yeah, they were talking about maybe double shifts too,
Yeah.
looking at the possibility, and I brought up the fact that we are looking at, the project on East Main Street, working a double also, so, in the case of Fillmore to Taunton Avenue to West Main Street, if you think about the population along there, there really isn't any. There's very few homes. There's probably, 2 houses up to the Northeastern Savings Bank that are probably occupied. And then beyond that, there really isn't anything until you hit, the entrance of the schools where the population starts again. So, those are areas where you might be able to, are they still congregating in the hallway?
Yes, they are.
It's like a cocktail party. Can I leave?
There's no way out of here. Remember, there's only one way out. But I think, I think we might want to consider asking them to do some night work because of the business impact it will have on those small businesses. I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on. And there may be some areas where they can run 2 different shifts, and maybe have them 2 in the same day. They're figuring it's going to take up to 6 months overall. And they have to start, I was wondering why we wouldn't start at the
Low end?
senior housing and then go to the other way, and they said that's not how they do it. They have to start at where the pump is and go backwards. So Fillmore to Taunton Avenue will be the first step. Imagine what's going to be like in that intersection.
Well, being down 16 feet, you got everything fighting against you, ledge, water, you name it. You could be drilling. You're probably not going to blast with all the other, utilities in the ground, but it's a possibility, especially right in front of the old bank.
Yeah.
In front of this house there.
You and Mansfield
That's a
Ave.
real bad section.
And,
No.
go ahead.
They're hoping to recycle some of the trenches they've already dug in the past. If someone's already, like the old pipe, they can dig above that. They're making the assumption that most of that will be clean where they've dug before. They have to go beyond that. That's when they're going to start finding problems and trying to figure that out, so. One of the interesting projects is we talked a lot about detours, trying to direct people away from the center of town, coming up with ways to get, when you're coming into Norton, when you hit the Chowie, maybe take John Scott Boulevard, more so than you would today. Coming the other way would be Nolan Street, some Birch Street, some of the Leonard Street, some of the other streets, maybe you could circumvent some of the center itself. Thinking from my own point of view, where I'm on Pine Street, would be sneaking through Fillmore more than normal. And that's pretty slow, but still, it's better than sitting in traffic forever. Talked about one-way traffic, maybe setting up where people know that traffic is only going to go one way into the center. If you want to go the other way, you're going to have to find another way around. There'll be a lot of discussion about how to handle it. But
And we also met with Cumberland Farms today. They plan on filing in May. So with the timing we heard about today, if they're legit on that timeline, it should be good for Cumberland Farms, and they shouldn't have to put in a septic system like they had planned on. So they plan on filing in May and hopefully starting soon after that with
Cumberland Farms
construction.
is looking at the vacant lot where the old bank used to be, just before the Yale School. That's the location they're talking about. It's been in the works for a while.
Mhm.
That's gas too, right, gas station?
Yeah, it'll be a gas station.
I'm sure they have a few hurdles left to do. So. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Selectmen report mail, Mr. Salvo?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to talk about a subject that's been broadcasted over social media in the last few weeks regarding our cable television. There's been a lot mentioned that the reason why we don't have BIOS is the Board of Selectmen won't allow them to come to town, and that's simply not true. So after hearing this, I made it upon myself to go talk to some hierarchies in Verizon. And they will not come to Norton because of the infrastructure cost is going to be far exceeded their subscribers. And it isn't worth them to do it at this point. But down the road, there's a new system coming on board, and a lot of towns are having it. It's like, it's something CAD 5 or whatever is going to be promoted, yeah. So, which is going to be another different way of technology. But for right now, it's not the Board of Selectmen that doesn't want BIOS, it's them not putting it in because of cost of infrastructure.
Yeah, we've had this conversation many times. What happened was they did the communities around us, and they found out that it wasn't cost-effective for them. So by the time they got to us, it wasn't worth the money to put the infrastructure in.
I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, we need competition, there ain't no ifs and buts about it. I know a person just bought a house in Taunton, and he's got BIOS, and it gets 155 channels. You need one box, the rest of your house is wireless, so you only have to have one actual cable, and his bill's $120 a month. And that's telephone, cable, and TV, which is huge difference compared to 180 and 230. I mean, I'm probably into the 200s, but still, it's very big margin difference.
Yeah, and technology is changing so fast that, the use of wires in the very near future, how many of us walk around with a computer on our hip today? I don't think you're going to see as much of that technology used in the future. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of these hubs maybe where we can broadcast from different locations without going to that infrastructure cost, but it's probably closer than we thought,
That's all I have, thank you.
other than this place.
It was
We do have
funny,
wires over there.
talking about this place, I was talking with the attorney, and she asked me, where are we meeting? And I said, we're gonna meet in the lovely Selectmen's meeting room. She said, oh, I'm used to meeting in the meeting room that's among all the file cabinets upstairs.
So she saw the first floor, she saw I don't know if we can call this the first floor, the step down.
It's the mezzanine.
Yeah, mezzanine from the second. Report mail, Mr. Bramwell? I have nothing. Mr. Steele? Mr. Flaherty? We have a couple letters. Paula Stearns, now a young lady over in the boat ramp on Juniper Beach, is looking for some more direction from us as to what's going on in her road. And I know we spent a lot of time over there the last year. She sent it to you and to the Board of Selectmen. Mike, did you get a copy of it?
Got that today.
Okay. So, just to remind everyone, Juniper Road is where we have our famous boat ramp down there in the Grove, and we should be taking some precautions now to make sure that happens. Can you set up another meeting so we can talk about this? And you guys didn't get a copy of this, right?
Yeah.
You did get a copy? Okay, good.
Yeah, she wants to meet out there. So-
Yeah, let's do that again. We gotta do something down there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is. We had some dialogue with fishery, Massachusetts Fish and Game, and it's kind of fallen off the wayside for now. Maybe we need to make that contact again and find out if they're making any headway. What we are finding about the reservoirs, the areas that we want to use, we want to put a boat ramp in, we can't, because there's not enough depth. So unfortunately, Juniper seems to be one of the better areas with the amount of depth that it needs to put the equipment in there. So we're going to have to come up with something, some kind of a compromise. Also have a couple of letters from two people who want to join various committees. Mr. Mark Sweeney would like to be an alternate member of the Park and Rec. I've asked that to be put on the next agenda. And we have Mr.
Go ahead, you can say it out loud, yeah.
What was it?
A lot of check.
Kowaticek?
So
Thank you.
I'll check to see if there's positions available on the rec, and
And Mr. Kowaczek is looking for the Industrial Development Commission.
I'll see, I'm not sure. Do you know if we had any vacancies, Bob? Do you remember? I don't think we do either, but I'll check.
And let's find out, and if we don't, we at least let them know
Yeah.
that we don't have them, but if we do have them, let's make the appointment if we can.
One thing while we're talking about positions, Mike, can we advertise again for looking for positions to fill the housing authority seats? I'm gonna be 2 people down
Wow,
at the end of April. I didn't realize that till like the other day. So,
okay.
3's not gonna cut it, because very seldom we can get everybody together for a meeting.
So,
Tell us about the housing authority, what do you guys do? If somebody out there is interested, what are you guys
Well,
doing?
we meet once a month. We review policy, and, you know, we don't get involved with day-to-day operation of the housing authority, but policy making and, you know, budget things and promotions for, you know, additions and all that good stuff. I've been on 20 years, so I like it. It's been a long time. And you're actually working for the elderly and making a better place for them to live, so.
would these positions be appointed positions to fill a vacancy until?
Yes,
Okay.
till the next election.
And you got a lot of stuff going on.
One was which has never been filled, it was a governor's appointee's position.
Right.
It's been vacant for about 4 years now.
Really?
So
All
someone
we
will
need
have
to do is,
apply to the
yes,
governor.
if we find a candidate that wants to be the governor's appointee, we just send a letter to them, and they'll appoint from them, but we still need to fill it, 2 seats,
In addition to the governor's seat?
1 seat,
Okay.
You meet once a month?
once a month. It's usually the 3rd Tuesday of the month, 4 o'clock. 4:30.
Okay. I'm looking to see if I have anything else. Okay, under warrants and minutes, Chair entertain a motion to approve payroll warrant PR 19-19 for the week ending March 9th, 2019. Warrant dated March 14th, 2019, in the amount of $1,313,090.73.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Chair entertain a motion to approve invoice warrant AP 19-37 dated March 14, 2019, in the amount of $309,254.50.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Chair entertain a motion to approve invoice warrant AP 19-38 dated March 21st, 2019, in the amount of $602,438.59.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. We have a set of minutes from March 7, 2019. Has everyone had a chance to look them over? And if so, Chair entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, our next agenda is, we have to make that, when's our next meeting, Mike? Is it the 2nd?
Well, you're going to
Yeah,
meet the
it's
second
We
for
have to
the
meet-
one thing, and then you meet
Meet
again
April
on the 4th.
So on April 2nd, we're going to meet to talk about the special town meeting article at 6:45 here. I don't believe we need to have, Shane, if you're not here, you don't have to come that night, unless you want to spend 15 minutes with us. And then Thursday, the 4th, will be our regular meeting. So if you have anything you want to add to that meeting, feel free to do so.
I may not be available on the second. I may be out of state. I got to check my schedule at the office, but
Okay, well, as long as we're here to make sure that the majority is here to make sure
Yeah.
this thing keeps rolling,
Yep.
we'll be okay.
I will also be out of state.
John, can you send me a reminder? I just have so much going on.
Just, I know you're not going to be here, Mike, also, but just make sure you leave us some direction on what we have to vote on, so we do it right. Okay. Anything else coming before the board? If not, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, Shane.